Vishakha Devi ki
Jai Gurudev. Jai Pandita Deva. Okay, so let's see, where are we now exactly? Okay, here we are. Jai Gurudev. So we are in the middle of Mahaprabhu's discussion with Venkatabhata. Ek Ishwar Bhakti Dhyananarup Ekai Vigrahe Kode Nanakara Rupa. There is no difference between the transcendental forms of the Lord. Different forms are manifested due to different attachments of different devotees. Actually, the Lord is one, but he appears in different forms just to satisfy his devotees. Quotation from Narada Pancharatra. Manir yata vibhagena nila pitadi biryuta rupa bedam avapnoti dhyana beda tatachuta. When the jewel known as Vaidurya touches various other materials, it appears to be separated into different colors, and consequently its forms also appear different. Similarly, according to the meditational ecstasy of the devotee, the Lord, who is known as Achyuta, the infallible one, appears in different forms, although he is essentially one. Bhatta kohe kahami jiva pamar, kaha tumi se Krishna sakshadishwar. Venkatabhata then said, I am an ordinary fallen living entity, but you are Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Agada Ishwar lila kichui na jani. Tumi je koho se satya kodi mani. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord are unfathomable, and I do not know anything about them. Whatever you say, I accept as the truth. More pona kripa koilo Lakshmi Narayan, tar kripa painu tomar charandadashan. I have been engaged in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, and it is due to their mercy that I have been able to see your lotus feet. Kripa kodi kohile more Krishna mahima, Jarupa Gunaishwar Jer Kehona Paisima. Out of your causeless mercy you have told me of the glories of Lord Krishna. No one can reach the end of the opulence, qualities, and forms of the Lord. And this is a very nice expression here, where he's saying that, I was engaged in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, and now by their grace, I've been brought to your lotus feet, and I have heard of the glories of Krishna. So before he was a very staunch devotee of Lakshmi Narayan, and now he has heard of the glories and supreme position of Krishna, and now he has come to embrace the position of a servant of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. But he's not saying, oh, now I am, rejecting Lakshmi Narayan, or now I am going to disrespect them or think less of them in some way. But this is very harmonious vision. By their grace, I have come to this higher conception. And we hear we've heard, a number of our devotees, who previously were following some other conception of divinity and feeling that particular, form brought them to the feet of Mahaprabhu. That their prayers to that form of the Lord brought them here. I don't want to go into specifics right now, but I think what I'm saying is clear. And And there's also the example in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Keshav Kashmiri, who's very devoted to Mother Saraswati, Goddess Saraswati. And Goddess Saraswati, having so much affection for him, brings him to Mahaprabhu and Krishna. Like that is the end, that is the natural progression of his devotion for Goddess Saraswati, is that it ultimately leads him to Krishna. That is the real mercy of the Goddess Saraswati upon him. There is this natural progression that will, if one has that inner propensity for a higher level of truth, then they will naturally come to a more developed conception. So this, and in the same way, who was an instructor at one stage in our life may not be an instructor in a later stage. Who was our teacher in class 1 may not be our teacher in class 5. But we won't reject them, we won't denounce them, but we will appreciate, what they gave us at that time, and may also feel that they brought me, they helped me come to this higher conception. So, this very nice, harmonious vision, the, development of truth. All other, I'm trying to think, this really nice quote of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, where he's saying that, where was it? No, it was Gurudev. Yeah, it was Gurudev. It was an article Gurudev wrote about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That Gurudev himself, it's an amazing article, Gurudev himself really liked it. And in there, Gurudev describes how, would you mind passing my phone? It's right there, when you enter the room, right there on the left, on the table. Yeah. In that article, he describes how Bhaktivinoda Thakur demonstrated that all other dharmas are like stairs. Thank you. I published it. How Gurudev says in the article how Bhaktivinoda Thakur demonstrated how he demonstrated that Vaishnava Dharma is not some peripheral Dharma, but rather how all other Dharmas are like stairs leading to that. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. This is such a beautiful, this is Gurudev's article, so nice.
Where was it published?
Gurudev published it, I think, originally in the Gaudiya Darshan magazine. And then it is published again on the, Jagimar's translated it, and it's on the Prema Dharma website. It's called On the Appearance Day of Thakur Bhakti Vinod. And Gurudev himself a few times mentioned, it's a very nice article that I wrote. And it's very, very nice article. So this is this quote here I'm thinking of. By the appearance it was a talk that Gurudev gave because Srila Sridhar Maharaj wasn't feeling well on the appearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And so on his behalf, Gurudev gave the talk. And then later he prepared it as an article. And so nice. By the appearance and endeavor of Srila Bhakti Vinod, Vaishnava Dharma became free from degradation, again self-manifested its pure nature as the Dharma of the soul, situated atop the heads of all other Dharmas, and attained beauty like that of the newly risen shining sun in the sky of the world's Dharmas. All the virtuous souls understood that Vaishnava Dharma is the one and only pure, effulgent, non-envious, devotional, and pleasing dharma of the self, within which there is no duplicity or contamination. They understood that if all other dharmas are perfectly performed, individually and collectively, then they will attain the beautiful position of stairs towards Vaishnava Dharma. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm struggling to articulate. If all other dharmas are perfectly performed, individually and collectively, then they will attain the beautiful position of stairs towards Vaishnava Dharma. If one gives one's full energy to their particular faith with full sincerity and focus and devotion, then they will progress to higher level of faith, and eventually they must come to Vaishnava Dharma. It is the natural progression of all dharmas. Yes, amazing, so nice how Gurudev has expressed this, so beautiful. And so, Venkatabhatta, he's following with that type of conviction. His particular faith, he's following with full sincerity, full devotion, and then naturally he must become qualified for another level. Just like, you complete your exams in year 1 and then you can progress to year 2, But if you don't, then you remain in year 1, right? So you perfectly perform all the duties you have in a particular stage, and then you will automatically become qualified for a higher stage of realization. So this is, the case with Lakshmi, in his devotion to Lakshmi Narayan, then they have helped him come to higher level of realization by the grace of Mahaprabhu. Okay. So I have been engaged in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, and it is due to their mercy that I have been able to see your lotus feet. Out of your causeless mercy you have told me of the glories of Lord Krishna. No one can reach the end of the opulence, qualities, and forms of the Lord. Ebese janinu Krishna bhakti sarvo padi kritarta korile mode kohile kripa kodi. I can now understand that devotional service unto Lord Krishna is the supreme form of worship. Out of your causeless mercy you have made my life successful, simply by explaining the facts. Eta boli bhatta podila prabhu chadane kripa kodi prabhutade koila lingane. After saying this, Venkatabhatta fell down before the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, embraced him. Chaturmasya purna huilo bhattagya loya dakin cholila prabhu shiranga dekhiya. When the period of Chaturmasya was completed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took permission to leave from Venkatabhatta, and after visiting Sri Ranga, he proceeded further towards southern India. Sangete cholila bhatta najai bhavane tadevi dai dila prabhu anek jatane. Venkatabhatta did not want to return home, but also wanted to go with the Lord. It was with great endeavor that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade him farewell. Prabhu viyoge bhatta hoilo achetan eranga lila kode shachir nandan. When he did so, Venkatabhatta fell down unconscious. Such are the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Ch.Ch. at Sri Ranga Kshetra. Vishab parvate choli aila gora hari nadayande kilataha nati stuti kodi. When the Lord arrived at Rishab Hill, he saw the temple of Lord Narayan and offered obeisances and various prayers. Paramananda Puritaha Rohe Chaturmas Shuni Mahaprabhu Gela Puri Gosai Pash. Paramananda Puri had stayed at Rishab Hill during the 4 months of the rainy season. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he immediately went to see him. Puri Gosai Prabhu Koilo Charan Vandan Preme Puri Gosai Tade Koilo Alingan. Upon meeting Paramananda Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered him all respects, touching his lotus feet, and Paramananda Puri embraced the Lord in ecstasy. Tin din preme dohe Krishna kata range, sevi pragore dohe rohe kasange. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed with Paramananda Puri in the Brahmin's house where he was residing. The two of them passed 3 days there, discussing topics of Krishna. Puri Gosai bole ami jabo Purushottame, Purushottam deki gore jabo Ganga snane. Paramananda Puri informed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was going to see Purushottam at Jagannath Puri. Okay. By Purushottam he means Lord Jagannath. So he says, I'm going to see Lord Jagannath. I'm going to Lord Jagannath's place. And after seeing Lord Jagannath, then I will go to Bengal to bathe in the Ganges. So Paramananda Puri is telling Mahaprabhu that he's on his way to Puri, and then he's going to Bengal. Prabhu kohe tumi puna aiso nila chole, ami se tu banda hoite asibo alpakale. Mahaprabhu then told him, please return to Jagannath Puri, for I will return there very soon from Rameshwar, Setu Banda. Tomani kate rohi heno vancha hoye, Nila chole asibe more hoya sadoe. It is my desire to stay with you, and therefore if you would return to Jagannath Puri, you would show great mercy to me. Ettaboli tartai e agya loya, dakine cholila prabhu harashita hoya. After talking in this way with Paramananda Puri, the Lord took his permission to leave and, very pleased, departed for southern India. Paramananda Puri tobe cholila nila chole, Mahaprabhu choli choli aila shi shaile. Thus Paramananda Puri started for Jagannath Puri, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began walking toward Sri Shaila. And in the purport, Bhakti and Devidasi Thakur remarks which Sri Shaila is being indicated by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is not clearly understood. But is that a deity of Lord Shiva? What does Shaila mean? I'm trying to remember.
How do you spell it?
S-A-I-L-E. Maybe this is referring to a deity of Lord Shiva. I'm not sure. It is said, Shaila means hill, doesn't it? I think it means something like that.
Like a place.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
Like a Shri place, a Shri hill. It might be, because it is said that on that hill, Lord Shiva, yeah, it's in some other verses. Mountain.
Hill. Is it S-H-A-I-L-A?
Well, you might spell it with an H, but originally
it says hill, mountain.
Yeah. So it means Shri Hill. Because Lord Shiva lived there with Devi. Also Lord Brahma lived there with all the demigods. Holy hill, like a holy hill. Shiva Durga dohe taha brahmanera veshe Mahaprabhu deki dohar. Hoilo hulase. There's one line I like very much in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's describing how Mahaprabhu served out prasadam to the devotees, and it uses the phrase Shri Haste, like Shri hands, like with his own hands. But Shri hand, with his Shri hand. His transcendental hand, as it's translated. He personally served out. Shiva Durga Dohita Brahmanera Vishe Mahaprabhu Deki Doha Hoilo Hulase. In Sri Shaila, Lord Shiva and his wife Durga lived in the dress of Brahmins. And when they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became very pleased. Din din bikshadila kodini mantran nibrite bosi gupta varta kohedu ijan. Lord Shiva, dressed like a Brahmin, gave alms to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him to spend 3 days in a solitary place. Sitting there together, they talked very confidentially. So what does Mahaprabhu and Lord Shiva talk about? We don't know. This is confidential. Tar sange Mahaprabhu kodi ishta goshti taragya loyaila podi kama koshti. After talking with Lord Shiva, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his permission to leave and went to Kama Koshta Puri. Takin matoraila Kama Koshti hoite tahadeka hoilo ek Brahman sahite. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at southern Mathura from Kama Koshti, he met a Brahmin. Se Vipra Mahaprabhu ke koilo nimantran Rama Bhakta Se Vipra Virakta Mahajam. The Brahmin who met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invited the Lord to his home. This Brahmin was a great devotee and an authority on Lord Sri Ramachandra. He was always detached from material activities. Kritamalai snan kodi ailatar gode Bhikshaki riben vipra pakanahi kode. After bathing in the river Kritamala, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Brahmin's house to take lunch. But he saw that the food was unprepared because the Brahmin had not cooked it. So he invited him to his house for lunch, but Mahaprabhu gets there. All the ingredients are there, but he hasn't cooked anything. Mahaprabhu kohe tade shuno mahashoy madhyan hoilo kene pakana hi hoy. Seeing this, Mahaprabhu said, "My dear sir, please tell me why you have not cooked. It is already noon." Vipra kohe Prabhu mor adanye vasati pake samagri vane namile samprati. The Brahmin replied, "My dear Lord, we are living in the forest. For the time being, we cannot get all the ingredients for cooking." You understand? Because he's in this mood of ecstasy that he's staying with Ramachandra in the forest. Because Ramachandra had to go in exile, right? For 14 years, right? And so in that time they lived in the forest like hermits. So this Brahman's a very devout, follower of Ramachandra. And now he's in this ecstatic mood, like he's living with him in the forest. And we have to go out and collect things, How can we cook, Vishakha Falmul Anibe Lakshman Tobe Sita Koriben Paka Prayojam. When Lakshman brings all the vegetables, fruits, and roots from the forest, Sita will do the necessary cooking. Tarupasana shuni prabhu tushta hoila, aste vyaste sevi pradandan kodila. Mahaprabhu was very satisfied to hear about the Brahmin's method of worship. Finally, the Brahmin hastily made arrangements for cooking. Prabhu Bhiksha Koilo Diner Tritiya Prahade Nirvina Sevi Prabhupavasa Kode. Mahaprabhu took his lunch at about 3 o'clock. So he's waiting there for 3 hours. He invites him for lunch and then he has to wait for 3 hours. We have to wait for Lakshman to come back. So Mahaprabhu took his lunch about 3 o'clock, but the Brahmin, being very sorrowful, fasted. It's so wonderful, living in the faithful plane, Like practically speaking, it can make things difficult sometimes. I was thinking, like when this whole lockdown was announced, I was thinking how is India going to deal with this? Because they're so faithful, how are they going to be able to stop their worship, their congregation and going to temples? I was I can imagine that this will work in every country, but not India. It might not work in India. Because they still have to have their, Bhagavan Icha. It all depends on the Lord's will what happens. We don't care what the World Health Organization says. We don't care what the Prime Minister says. We believe in our Lord Ramchandra and Lord Krishna. No, this mood of like simple faith, Like wasn't it Goswami Maharaj who was telling about a lady who was giving her obeisances to all the rocks that she saw, because just in case one of them was a Shalagram Shila.
You mean in India?
Yes, yeah. An Indian lady. So, maybe you're hungry, but you have to wait. So, we're waiting for Lakshman. So Mahaprabhu finally takes his lunch about 3 o'clock. But the Brahmin, he's fasting for an unknown reason. Prabhu kohe vipra kahe koro upavas, kene taduka kene koro hutash. While the Brahmin was fasting, Mahaprabhu asked him, "Why are you fasting? Why are you so unhappy? Why are you so worried?" Vipra kohe jivane mor nahi prayojan, Agni jale praveshiya chadibo jivan. The Brahmin replied, "I have no reason to live. I shall give up my life by entering either fire or water." Jaganmata Mahalakshmi Sita Thakurani Rakshase Sparshilo Tade Iha Kane Shuni. My dear sir, Mother Sita is the mother of the universe and the supreme goddess of fortune. She has been touched by the demon Ravan, and I am troubled upon hearing this news. He shodir dori bare kabo na jujai, e duke jwale deho prananahi jai. Sir, due to my unhappiness, I cannot continue living. Although my body is burning, my life is not leaving. Prabhu ko he bhavana na kori hohar, pandit hoya kenena koroho vichar. Mahaprabhu replied, please do not think this way any longer. You are a learned pandit. Why don't you consider the case? Ishvar prayasi sita chidananda murti, prakrita indriye tare dekite nahi shakti. Mahaprabhu continued, Sita Devi, the dearmost wife of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra, certainly has a spiritual form full of bliss. No one can see her with material eyes, for no materialist has such power. Sparshibar karyachug napai darshan, Sita kriti maya harilo ravan. To say nothing of touching Mother Sita, a person with material senses cannot even see her. When Ravan kidnapped her, he kidnapped only her material, illusory form. Ravana sita sita antardana koilo, Ravaner agemaya sita patailo. As soon as Ravan arrived before Sita, she disappeared. Then, just to cheat Ravan, she sent an illusory material form. Aprakrita vastuna he prakrita gochar, Veda pura nitye kohe nirantar. Spiritual substance is never within the jurisdiction of the material conception. Spiritual substance is never within the jurisdiction of the material conception. This is always the verdict of the Vedas and Puranas. So this is an important principle, and this verse is one that our gurus often quote. Vishwas, so, it is very logical. How is it possible for Lord Ravan to touch Sita at all? She is transcendental, he is mundane. And this was the question that I asked those Bengalis that we met on the train. But they didn't know this answer. Vishwas karo tumi amar vachane punarapi kubhavana na kori homane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then assured the Brahmin, have faith in my words and do not burden your mind any longer with this misconception. Prabhur vachane viprer hoilo vishwas, vojan korilo hoilo jivane rash. Although the Brahmin was fasting, he had faith in the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and accepted food. In this way, his life was saved. Tade ashvasya Prabhu korila gaman, krita malai snan kori aila durvashan. After reassuring the Brahmin, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded further into southern India and finally arrived at Durvasan, where he bathed in the river Kritamala.
Would it mean that this Brahmin was fasting not the first day?
Sorry, what did you say, Prabhu?
Would that mean that that Brahmana was fasting not for the first day? So the time when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was on the highest peak of that pastime, and he invited him home to have a meal, but then he himself, he hadn't eaten for a number of days already.
I mean, I can't say because it doesn't tell us here.
But then it says that he saved his life. In this way, he saved his life.
Well, how is that meant? I mean, my mood, my feeling is that it's an expression, because what is life? That was actually something I was going to mention. That it may not be referring it may not be in a physical sense, but that is one's. We hear these expressions all the time. The Lord is the life of his devotees. That's real life. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to take a microscope to the expression, any of the expressions that we hear. But what I was gonna say is, I mean, maybe it means physically, maybe it means heart in terms of heart. Yes, it is possible. But the point I was just gonna make is, like for like person like myself who's living in such a gross plane of consciousness, this is kind of humorous, But for them, it's actually a matter of life and death. They're living, the higher, the real devotees are living on a more subtle plane of life, plane of existence. So, like, all of these things equate life and death for them. That invisible world, that subtle plane, that is the very life of their life. Jiva ner jivan. That is their pran. That is everything for them. So, it's not in this world of gross matter, it doesn't appear to have much relevance, but it is everything for them. And he's ready to fast till death because he's disturbed on this point. So, he's living on such a high plane of faith. This is the prapana jivanamrita. They're living on a particular nectar, from above. And if their devotional sentiment is disturbed in some way, then it is like they are dead. That is the end of their life.
So we'll find out more tomorrow about the follow-up.
No, then that's it. Then Mahaprabhu carries on his... Well, yeah, there is a follow-up. It's true. He finds some evidence for his statement. It's true.
Exactly, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I understand now. Yeah, I'm not sure at what point, if that's immediately after, or a little bit later. Yeah, no, it is, It is just on the following page, So Mahaprabhu, but you see, that Brahmin, he believes Mahaprabhu. He's very satisfied with what Mahaprabhu has told him. But for the benefit of other persons, Mahaprabhu finds evidence. What Mahaprabhu says is evidence, But for the sake of those who may need some shastric evidence, then he's finding a citation in the Karma Purana. This isn't some newfangled idea that Mahaprabhu came up with.
Can I ask you a question about that, the statement you quoted with Srila Gurudev's article on how if one's inner necessity is really that strong and sincere, that it will lead them to the highest path, regardless of whatever they're engaged in terms of tradition or religion. And it made me think about the act of preaching and how, to what extent that there's actually no sense of conversion in any way in that process, because it depends on the inner necessity of the individual. So we're only actually, by preaching, helping ourselves.
Sure, we're helping ourselves, but we're also acting as instruments of the Lord's desire to open the door for those people. Give them an avenue, give them the opportunity to make that approach. And also, according to our own potency and spiritual purity, we can also give something. We can also infuse or inject something in others. I mean, it's an interesting discussion point because, like we see in some cases, simply by virtue of someone's strong sukriti, they come to the truth, and it may be through a very faulty agent. Like we've seen persons who weren't even really following our line, not even initiated, but were like friends of the family kind of thing, and they've brought amazing devotees to our mission. There's a few cases like that I can think of right now. So that was more, we can think and that we can suppose in that situation, their coming was more down to that person's own sukriti, that they were able to come in connection with someone, or they immediately responded once they heard something from them, from this agent. But then in other cases, it may be more the other way around, that the agent has very great spiritual potency, and they're able to awaken something in someone who otherwise wasn't really that interested and had a lower level of sukriti. It can also work like that. Yeah. But sure, there is an element of that we're helping ourselves, definitely. It is, preaching is it's the most purifying activity, actually. So, that is also there, of course. And we're also, facilitating the Lord's desire to distribute himself. So we're as instruments. No. Not that we are needed for that, but it's an opportunity for us. We can think in that way. We should never think that, I'm indispensable, I'm needed. If it wasn't for me, then this wouldn't happen. But it's an opportunity. Every service we do is an opportunity to be used as an instrument. And if it wasn't us, it would be somebody else. So we want to avail ourselves of all the opportunities that we have.
It makes me think about just all those discussions we have about going out there and sharing what we have and stuff, and this thinking about this also puts that into some context.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to have the ego I'm going to save the world, like who are we? Like, we need to save ourselves, But Mahaprabhu, he makes that expression, which we just went through a few days ago, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj quotes that Prabhu, Prabhu Amar Agyai Gu Tar E Desh, right? There's that expression of Mahaprabhu. Upon my order, become Guru and save the land. So that kind of encapsulates it summarizes what we've just discussed. He's saying on, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj particularly points out that he says, on my order. So you will think that you are simply acting as my, faithful servant, as an instrument. And and that should save you from the ego of thinking that you're doing this and you're the great savior. But it is my desire, and you're simply acting as an instrument of my desire in trying to help the people. Like that. Yeah. Yeah, and there's different moods, There's also there's different ways it has been approached. Like another mood that Gurudev has expressed is simply, it's a natural mood that comes, a natural mood of benevolence that comes when you're experiencing something so fulfilling, that I can't just keep it to myself, I want to share it with others. That is also another approach. I'm tasting something very nice, I want my friends to taste it too. Like Kat, she's finding fulfillment in Krishna consciousness, and now she's telling her friends about it, and Now this morning we have a meeting with one of her friends who wants to know more. So she's having that like, oh, I found the thing. Like now I've got to tell my friends about it. So that mood is also there. And then another mood we also hear, and that's also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, is that I don't want to be alone. I need some friends, but I could only have friends who are also devotees, so I need to make some devotees. That's another mood of preaching. There, Goswami Maharaj gave that advice to Gopeshwar, and he really appreciated it. Like, this is a really different angle from what I'm used to hearing. Got to save the world, save the people. Like, I've moved to a new town. I'm alone here. I need friends, and I need to make some devotees here so I have friends.
And he did it.
And he did it very successfully. But that idea is also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita when Mahaprabhu's in Varanasi. There's one Brahmin, and it describes how it's Varanasi, which is the Mayavad capital, so they're all impersonalists. And so considering that he had to live here for a very long time, then he tried to make arrangements, to convert some of these people. So he organized that meeting where Mahaprabhu met with this big assembly and then ended up capturing their hearts. But that was his initial consideration, that I'm alone here, surrounded by impersonalists. This is too much. I need some more friends.
Say nothing to Harinanda Prabhu. He was telling us his story.
Right.
He moved to Spain and he was all alone and really missing the association of the devotees. And his good devotee friend from Maracay was going, make your family devotee. So he did.
Very successfully.
Very successfully.
Yeah. And then also, if we're connected to a genuine source, then that may flow through us despite ourselves. Like we heard that commented in the time of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. We had so many of these young men and women on the streets distributing books, and how sometimes the people on the street were feeling they don't really know what they're talking about. Imagine some 18-year-old kid with this big Srimad Bhagavatam. That still astonishes me. How do they sell these big Bhagavatams? They're not coming out with little introductory pamphlets or books or even Bhagavad Gita. These big fat Bhagavatams, which are so philosophical. How is it that they're distributing this to people on the street? But we heard that comment that what many people felt was that they don't necessarily know what they're talking about or what this is, but they're speaking with such conviction nevertheless, and they're obviously connected to something genuine, something authentic. That connection with Srila Prabhupada, that was shining through them. So, that's something we have in our favor, that, it's not about us and them. Not just that we're explaining something to them, but it's that we're connected to a current of truth. And we want to somehow, by some means, by some gestures, expressions, words, convey that to them. And then they will get some sense of that and be attracted, Or they will feel that current flowing through to some whatever degree it may be. And that's what pulls them. There's this line in Bhagavad Darshan, that Srila Prabhu published, which I always remember when this discussion comes up, where Gurudev says, it's a cryptic statement, Gurudev says, this subject matter is not for preaching. It is a transcendental fuse that connects the mundane to the spiritual. Something like that, Like this isn't like some particular content or philosophy that we're trying to explain to people with our mental power. But there's this current, there's this live fuse, that we're trying to connect people with. Like that. It goes beyond whatever we can say or do to explain to people.
Otherwise you just start looking like a madman.
What?
Otherwise you just look like a madman if you're trying to just explain all this again.
Well, you may look like a madman, but they'll see that,
No, I'm saying like if you don't have that connection, like if you're not going on that, like by the current, like that kind of thing.
Well, I'm saying you may look like a madman. That's the point that I was making. But despite that, they see that you're connected to something real. That like your explanation may not be very good, and you may look a little mad or emotional, but they can see what they're feeling something else. They're feeling something in the heart. They're feeling some like current that's you're connected with. That's what I'm saying. That we may not be able to present it well, but persons will connect on a deeper level if their heart is sufficiently open to that. Okay, well, should we stop there? Will you lead us, Bandita Didi?
Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Is Ramananda, did he go out?
I think so, yeah.
See, what I wanted to say
Yeah.
is that, I wasn't able to articulate it properly, but our conception of life and their conception of life are two different things, right? So for us, life means your heart's beating, your pulse is running. Oh, are you there, Ramananda?
Ramananda!
What?
Is
Oh,
he?
yeah. So what I wanted to say, I didn't articulate it properly, is that our conception of life and the devotee's conception of life are two different things, right? Our conception of life is your heart's beating, your pulse is beating, you have food to put in your stomach, right? But for the devotees, that's not their conception of life. Their conception of life is Harikatha, the Lord, mercy, and all these more subtle things. So therefore, when it mentions save his life, I don't know what it means, if it means physically or in terms of his faith, his conception, his heart, his mood.
Because I was thinking that he was fasting, right? And the Lord.
Well, it mentions fasting, and I thought it was just for that particular.
Yeah, but the fasting is a side effect of how desperate he was. And so I thought that the Lord comes in the moments when the devotee is the most on the peak of desperation.
Yes.
And so that's why I thought that that Brahmana, he was absorbed in the pastime, in that lila, and he was so absorbed in it that he even it was not something separate from him, it was like in his life, literally.
Yes.
And he was going through that. And the moment the Lord appeared, he was already fasting. So he was at the peak of his a desperate mood, yes. And then the Lord, he relieved him, like he soothed that pain, so to say. So that's what I thought, that it was like, it wasn't like, oh, today I feel not so good, like this. But it was like the most like intense moment of, his, I don't know.
Jai. Shri Guru Gandhara Devidasi.